Hello, today on Just Before You Do, JBYD. Today on Just Before You Do, we're going to be looking at hello and welcome to Just Before You Do. Today on JBYD, we're going to be looking at 7 questions. There are many questions, but 7 specific questions that you must ask before you say I do. Before you get married, before you get to the place of saying, yes, I do, these are some of the questions you must ask and answer sincerely because they will help you. You see, marriage is rewarding, but the reward of marriage follows hard work. It follows honest conversations that the two of you must have and the openness to hear and be heard, to give and to take, to know yourself and be known by your partner. These are important factors that you must consider. And in order to satisfy yourself of all of these, there are specific questions that you must ask and must be asked of you and answered sincerely in order for you to really know you're ready. What am I saying? Before you walk down the aisle, it is important that you have this very hard conversation, by the way. It is better you have them now rather than to push them down the road for later discussion. Because what we have seen, what we have noticed from past experiences that couples who openly discuss these topics, they end up reducing conflicts down the line. It improves their emotional intimacy and it helps them to build a very strong marriage. See, every couple hoping for and wanting a lifelong marital life, which is what everybody wants, they should be ready to ask. They should be prepared to answer these questions, especially during their preparatory stage of getting married. And there are red flags that you need to be aware of as you go along. And then there are answers, there are ways of of knowing what those red flags, what they mean, and how to handle them. So quickly, what are these questions that you must ask yourself and be asked of your partner? The first one is, why do we want to get married? Why do we want to get married? You see, it's been said that when the why is clear, the how will be easy. The why of you getting married matters because it sets the foundation for your marriage. If the reason for getting married is driven by love, by shared vision, by mutual choice, by sincerity and honesty, then you will build a very strong marriage. But if it is rooted and grounded in pressure, maybe fear, maybe societal or family expectations, or maybe the calendar or whatever else that is driving you to the point of getting married, it will leave cracks. It will lead to conflicts. And likelihood, a very high percentage of such marriages, they end up in breakdown. So why do you want to get married? So it is important for you to ask this question, have this conversation. Ask questions like, what does marriage mean to each of us personally? Are we marrying out of love or out of necessity? Are we seeking companionship? Is it for security reason? Is it so that I can say I'm married, change of status? Or is there a shared value and a shared purpose between the two of us that is bringing us to a point where we believe marriage is the next step for us? And how do we actually define what a successful marriage is? Because no two marriages are the same. So what is your definition? What is my definition of a successful marriage? And these are some of the red flags you need to look out for. Are you feeling pressure by family, by culture, by your age, or maybe because suddenly you realize now you're pregnant? Is that the reason why marriage is the next step? Or are you trying to fix a relationship problem that you have before you get into that companionship, and now you think marriage is the answer? Another red flag you should be aware of is that there are vague, mismatched, unrealistic expectations. When you think marriage is the answer to all your problems, you are setting yourself up for failure. So what do you do about it? The two of you should individually write a short marriage mission statement explaining what marriage means for you, what marriage means for me, and then we sit down and compare these notes and agree and be in line, be in sync. Then we can move ahead. Without knowing why, the how will always be a problem. Number two question that you should ask is, what are our core values? What do we believe in? What are our beliefs? You see, unless the two of you agree, the Bible says, unless the two agree, they can't walk together. Unless you know what you stand for, you will fall for anything. Your values, they act as a compass for your life. They determine your direction. They undergird your decisions. They help you know what you want, what you will accept, what you will not accept. But when partners fail to align their values about honesty, about money management, about families, about faith, about their priorities, about their future together, conflict becomes inevitable. So what are your core values? How have they lined up with both of you? Now, I'm not denying the important fact that you are still individuals, even though when you are married. But there must be some common grounds. There must be some level of agreement that undergirds your relationship, where your compass align, where your values agree. And those common grounds are the things that will hold you when the pressure of marriage comes into play. What am I saying? The values that you must be looking for, like you must be talking about, that you must be checking, are things like, what are your faith and spirituality values? How important is faith and religion or spirituality in your life? What about your family values? What tradition, what family tradition or practices do you think is a non-negotiable as far as you are concerned? And unless you have this conversation, it will come up somewhere down the line and it could be a deal breaker. What are your moral compass? How do you decide? What is your definition of right and wrong, especially in the society where we're in today, where everything is relative? What are your lifestyle choices that you hold dear? Where do you stand regarding health, regarding work-life balance, regarding ethics, regarding raising children and giving back and all of that? These are your core values. And you must have this conversation if you want to have a good and long-lasting marriage. The red flags you must watch out for are things like dismissing or belittling each other's beliefs. Oh, yeah, I know about that, but oh, please, that's old. That's just a modern thing. No, if it's important to you, put it on the table. Another red flag you must watch out for is where you assume that love will conquer all the differences between the two of you without actually putting them on the table for discussion. You know what they said about assumption? It's the lowest form of knowledge. Another red flag is the unwillingness to compromise or respect differences between the two of you. Life is not cast in stone, it's give and take. But unless you have this conversation, you just be going in opposite direction. Question number 3. How do we handle money? How do we handle, how do we treat, how do we manage, what are our beliefs concerning money? You see, money is one of the leading causes of disagreement, conflict, separation, and ultimate divorce in many relationships. Money represents security to some people. It represents controls to some and priorities for others. Not just the number or the amount you have in the bank, it's the mentality, the mindset about money that we're talking about here. So the conversation about money that you should have before you get married are things like, are we savers or are we just spending everything that we have? Are we going to have a joint account, a separate account, or somewhere in between? How would we, or who will be in charge of paying all the bills and obligations? It doesn't have to be the man. It doesn't have to be the woman. It doesn't have to be the person who is making most money. There has to be an avenue where you establish who is better at handling this aspect and let that person be in charge. What about your debts? How do you manage them? How do you, even if you have student loans, you have car loans, you have credit card debt, how do you manage that? How do you work towards being on top of that? Do you even have financial goals? Are you planning to one day buy your own house? What about investment? Are you thinking of your retirement? These are vital money questions that you must talk about before you say, I do. And then there is the always present one. How much freedom do I have? How much freedom do you have to spend without consulting me? Unless you have an agreement, unless you have a conversation, unless you discuss this, it will always come back to bite you. The red flags you should be aware of are things like secret debts or hidden spending. It's important to know what you owe, what debt you have before you marry, because the moment you marry, it becomes both your responsibilities. Number 4, how do we handle conflicts? I know there's this mindset of these people saying, oh, in our marriage, we've been married 15 years, we've never quarreled, we've never had an argument. God bless you. Arguments are conflicts, are not the enemy of marriage. How you handle them, how you resolve them, that's the Achilles heel. The truth is, every couple argues. Every couple have disagreements. Why? You see, you are two individuals raised from two different backgrounds. You've experienced two different things. Your education, your knowledge, your exposure, everything about you had been individual to you. But now you're bringing the two together. There will be instances, there will be times where you just don't see eye to eye on things. And sometimes, if you don't know how to manage them, how to handle them, that is what will lead to conflict. There is nothing wrong with argument. There's nothing wrong with having a difference of opinion. In fact, if you don't have a difference of opinion, something is wrong. Because where two people are exactly the same, one of them is irrelevant. No, but have the argument, have the conversation, but know how to manage it, that all it is difference of opinion that needs to be resolved. So the key questions that you must ask are things like, how do we currently argue? Do we shut down and sweep it under the carpet, hoping it won't come back again? Or do we shout at each other and bang the door and slam the car? Or do we sit down and talk as adults and resolve issues? Are we comfortable expressing frustration openly, expressing your feelings without thinking somebody will think you are weak, or the other person will think you are not who you think you are? Then after argument and conversation, there's a place for apologies and forgiveness. How do we process that? Would we consider couple counseling if need be? Is that something we will be open to? Should it get to that point? Unless you have had that conversation before you say, I do, it will become harder to discuss when the heat is on. And this is how you will know if there's an issue in that area. These are the red flags. You have instances where one or both of you refuses to discuss the issue. It's called the silent treatment. How's your day? Fine. Did you hear from your mom? No. And it becomes a one answer or no answer at all. Another red flag to watch out for is where you escalate personal attack instead of focusing on the issue at hand. You leave the matter and now you are dealing with the person. No, deal with the issue, not the person. Another red flag is where come rain, come sun. At the end of the day, one partner always wins. One partner is always right. One person is always the encyclopedia of knowledge. No. It doesn't matter how dunce or stupid you think the other person is. There's a point that they have, and it must be discussed. Number 5. What are our expectations about roles and responsibilities in this marriage? The next question that you must ask and discuss and really finalize before you say, I do, is with regards to the roles and the responsibility of the man and of the woman and of the two of you in the marriage. Generally in life, you will get either what you tolerate or what you negotiate. In every aspect of life, it is either what you accept or tolerate or what you discuss and negotiate. Unspoken expectations about who does what, who is responsible for what. Is it the financial responsibility? Is it the domestic responsibility? Is it your emotional? Without having this conversation of knowing who is responsible, you are building a house of cards. And like they say, it will come crashing down. You are responsible to each other, but you are not responsible for each other. You are responsible to each other, but you're not responsible for each other's actions and decisions. It is therefore important that each of you should know what you are responsible for. But comes with that is, because you are responsible for it, you must be ready and be willing to be held accountable for what you are responsible for. Division of labor, breaking it down, knowing who is in charge of what, who is responsible for what, is vital. But both of you must understand that even in that, within the division of labor mindset, the key is equal sacrifice and not equal giving. There is no relationship that thrives or that will succeed if everything has to be divided 50-50, because you cannot put value, you cannot quantify some aspects, some contributions that the other party brings. So how do you divide that 50-50? But if you have the mindset that it is equal sacrifice, it might not be equal giving, now you're on your road to finding an answer and live happily thereafter. So these are the key questions that you must ask. Who will handle the household chores? It doesn't have to be the wife. It doesn't have to be the husband. You can always discuss that. Who is in charge of taking care of children when they come? How do we view gender roles and equality in marriage? Will one partner's career take priority over the other? You need to discuss that. How would you involve external family or extended family in the livelihood of your home, of your marriage? These are things you must discuss. And the red flags here is where you assume that the other person is responsible based on stereotypes rather than having the open discussion about it. When you assume that, oh yeah, because I work 9 to 5, then because you stay at home, then you're not putting in as much. That is a wrong way to look at it. And then you must also watch out for disagreement about family boundaries. The in-laws and the outlaws, what are their roles in all of these? So these are some of the questions that you need to ask and you need to answer before you go into marriage, before you say, yes, I do. For more information on similar topics and how to build a strong foundation for your marriage and be equipped with vital knowledge that will help you, the wisdom, the tools, the practical tools to help you live peacefully and have a blissful marriage thereafter, visit our website, justbeforeyoudo.com. And you will find all the details of how to be part of the community, how to lay hold of some of these materials, how to enroll for a bespoke one-on-one coaching that will help you through from the time of dating all to the place of yes, I do, and thereafter. And also, please subscribe to our Substack and YouTube channel. Thank you.